A major weather pattern change will be coming to the United States over the next few days, which is about to bring a summer heat wave again to the United States, with temperatures well above average expected across the Great Plains, the Midwest, and back into the Ohio Valley. Additionally, severe weather is about to make another return across parts of the United States, with damaging winds, large hail, and even a few tornadoes being a possibility. So in today's forecast, we're going to break down exactly what you need to know about the weather that'll be impacting the United States over the next 7 days. And we'll begin with what's happening across the country today. And right now, we've actually had some big storms back over in the Central Plains from last night. Had some pretty big hail and wind occur back over in eastern Colorado and western Kansas. This is all from a new trough that is currently back along the west coast, which is going to bring more rounds of severe weather as we go into tomorrow and even as we get closer to Friday across the Great Plains and perhaps even back into the Midwest. Back along the East Coast, we've had some showers and storms on and off across Florida and even as far north as southern New England, but generally speaking, anywhere else in between is looking at pretty nice weather. Anywhere from Louisiana and South Texas all the way into northern New England, the conditions are almost perfect for this time of the year. We're really talking about really nice weather, and it looks like it's going to stay like that for the next few days. Now, the weather's about to change a ton over the next few days, and the biggest reason why is because our mid-level flow and our jet stream are taking a dramatic turn compared to what we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks with all that colder weather that came out of Canada. So let's check out the mid-level flow right now, and this is what it looks like. We got a large trough that is currently located back over in northern California this morning. We also have a ridge that is currently building across Texas, and then a small little low pressure system that's over the Great Lakes. Now, what's going to happen over the next few days is that we are going to see this low pressure system along the west coast become stationary, which is actually going to allow for severe weather to make a return, especially across the northern plains on Friday and even perhaps tomorrow, while high pressure will continue to build across the central and southern plains, which means that we are likely going to see a lot of warm air build anywhere east of the Rockies throughout the end of this week and also into the weekend, because we really don't have anything cooling it down. We do not have northwesterly flow really in any area that's strong enough to bring that cold weather like what we saw earlier this month across the Midwest and the Ohio Valley, where we even had below freezing temperatures at times. So that's not something that we're really talking about over the next few days. Instead, we're going to have a weather pattern where severe weather is going to make a return anywhere from tomorrow all the way through Saturday into Sunday across the Great Plains, maybe even a little bit of the Midwest. And then eventually by next week, we're going to continue to see an active weather pattern across the northern plains and the Midwest, with a few low pressure systems making their way over the Rockies. On the other hand, back along the Gulf Coast, the Southeast, and even along the East Coast, it looks like it's going to be pretty warm and dry for the next 7 to 10 days. Now, one of the biggest changes that we are going to see over the next few days are the temperatures. This is what it looks like right now. We have a very small pocket of above average temperatures across the Great Plains, cooler than normal weather back along the West Coast, which isn't something that we've seen really much of recently, and around average temperatures along the East Coast. But this really changes by the weekend. We are going to be watching for a large area of warm air to build across the Great Plains, the Midwest, and the Ohio Valley. Many areas will have their high temperatures back into the 80s and 90s by this weekend. And by early next week, that warm air is just going to continue across all of the Great Plains, the Midwest, and the Ohio Valley. The only area that might be a little bit of an exception would be back over in Florida, and a little bit of the East Coast may be around or just below average for temperatures through Wednesday. And eventually by the end of next week and into the weekend, things become more uncertain, but I would expect that this warmer weather trend will continue probably through about September 18th or so, and then things may begin to change a little bit after that. So these are the high temperatures that we're dealing with for today. Most areas in the Great Plains in the 80s and 90s, back over in the Midwest and across the Northeast. There are pockets of 60s and even 70s. What's going to really be a big change, though, is as we get closer this weekend, by Saturday, high temperatures right back into the 100s across Iowa, Illinois, and Missouri, even as far north as southwestern Minnesota. This is not uncalled for this time of the year, but this is definitely above average for temperatures. By Sunday and Monday, those temperatures are really not going to change much. We're still talking about 80s, 90s, and 100s as far north as Illinois. And then by Wednesday of next week, again, really not much changing here. It looks like that this heat wave is just going to keep building, and it's going to stay like that until we start to see a more active weather pattern come out of this, where we do have a large trough, obviously, along the West Coast. Once we start to see some more shortwave troughs come along into parts of the northern plains in the Midwest, we'll start to see cooler weather occur. But for right now, the next 7 to 10 days look like they are going to be very hot across much of the United States. And the Climate Prediction Center does agree that we are likely going to see above average temperatures anywhere from Monday, which is September 15th, all the way through the 19th. So get ready again for well above average temperatures to make a return. There is again one small exception, which is the East Coast, and then there could be some areas back along the West Coast also that deal with below average temperatures during this time period, but nonetheless, it is expected to be pretty warm for this time of the year for most of the country. Now, with all that said, we are also eyeing the potential for some severe weather to return over the next 7 days, and on top of that, our weather pattern when it comes to rainfall is going to change a little bit here compared to what we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks. This is what it looks like today into tomorrow. We're expecting some scattered showers and isolated storms anywhere from Colorado back into North Dakota, and a little bit of activity back over in Florida and South Texas. High pressure, though, building across the Northeast and all across Canada. Now, as we get closer to Friday and Saturday, that is when I expect at least some isolated to severe weather to make a return. That is mainly because of that large low pressure system that is sitting back over near the Rockies. We should at least get some activity here across the Dakotas and Nebraska. This will be mainly across the high plains, though, where I do expect at least some isolated severe weather to make a return with damaging winds, large hail, perhaps even a couple of tornadoes being a possibility both Friday and Saturday. And then by Sunday and Monday, we'll have another shot of severe weather here across the northern plains. Not expecting too much for the Midwest probably until Sunday, which is one day that we may see some severe weather try to make an appearance, but overall nothing major currently in the forecast. By the time we go into early next week, scattered showers and storms will continue across the northern plains and the Midwest. Rain will continue also across the Southeast, and then anywhere in between, we're just talking about maybe isolated chances of showers and storms between now and Thursday of next week. But overall, I am really not seeing anything major in the forecast aside from the temperature change that we're going to be seeing over the next 7 days. So generally speaking, no tropical storms, no hurricanes. We don't really have anything when it comes to wintry weather right now that we have to talk about. And on top of that, there's really not a whole lot of severe weather. There's just enough to take note of across parts of the central and northern plains and the Midwest later this week and also into the weekend. Now, the tropics are basically the same story. There is really not much happening right now in the Atlantic Ocean. We just do not have a favorable weather pattern at all for tropical activity. Biggest reason why is the jet stream has dipped so far down to the south. There's just so much wind shear that is currently in place across the Gulf, and that is really preventing any systems from developing there. And on top of that, there's just a lot of dry air, a lot of sinking air. This is not something that you typically see at the peak of hurricane season, which, by the way, the official peak of hurricane season is today. I'm not expecting anything to develop anytime soon either. The European ensemble members are indicating there could be some development sometime around September 19th or 20th, but keep in mind, ensemble groups have been showing this for a while, where there's something being shown about 9 to 10 days out and nothing actually happens. But again, this is something that we'll be keeping an eye on, and if the trend continues, we'll be the first to let you know. And on the other side of the United States, we have the Pacific Ocean, and we actually have the remnants here of Tropical Storm Kiko just to the north of Hawaii. You can see the spin actually in the low levels. That is actually going more towards Hawaii, but all the convection has gone to the north, and it is a weakening storm system here. It's a very, very weak storm just to the north of Hawaii. It is expected to completely diminish over the next 48 hours as it continues to track to the west. Only thing Hawaii is really dealing with is just some gusty winds. And as always, thank you all so much for watching today's forecast. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. Our next video will probably not be until at least Friday, but if not, maybe even Saturday or Sunday. We are in a very quiet stretch of weather right now. Do not see much of a need for another forecast update, at least for the next couple of days. If not, it might even be a few days. So again, just click the bell icon so you're notified with the latest updates. Also, I just got back from the National Weather Association meeting in Huntsville, Alabama. It was an amazing time. Met a lot of different meteorologists, including legendary meteorologist James Spann. I will definitely be back next year. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you guys all again in the next forecast.